Hi sweet moms and dads, it's Didi here and I'm super excited for today's video because we have a special guest who is here to share her knowledge. If you ever wondered what to feed your family, what is a family healthy diet, or how to help your kids to build healthy relationship with food, then this video is for you. Farzanah Nasser is the founder of Inside Out Nutrition, which is a London-based holistic clinic that uses nutrition and natural remedies to bring people back into balance and good health. She is a foodie, health nerd, yogi, and mother of 3 boys. Hello Farzanah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi Didi, thanks for having me.
Before we dive into the nutrition, I really want to hear your story because your story resembles very much my story. You worked in corporate, then you left and you pursuing career in nutrition. So tell me more about it.
After I had my kids, I had a couple of issues myself. After my 3rd son, I got vertigo. I had to go to the doctor to get pills and I was having to take pills twice a day, every day, just so I could see straight and I could pick up my kids.
Really?
Otherwise so I could pick up my kids from school and stuff like that. And I was doing that for 3-4 months, and then I went to see, it was actually my sister-in-law's mother, who was a bioenergetic screening practitioner, and I went to see her, and it picked up an issue I had with my lungs. Anyway, I took the remedy. Within 3-4 days, my vertigo had gone, and
wow.
that intrigued me, and that made me want to learn more. And then also with my children, I had some issues. One of my son was very atopic with eczema. And so we've been able to manage that through food and lifestyle. And my other son was slightly hyperactive and stuff, and we've managed that as well through food and lifestyle.
So it lit you up so much that you decided to say goodbye to the corporate career.
Absolutely. And then I started, I got into nutrition. I went back to school, for 3 years and graduated. And
wow.
Did all of that all over again, and
Do you have some regrets?
Gosh, no. I wish I had picked it up that much earlier when I was at school, but there's a time for everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you need something to pull you away so you can see that there is something else out there. There are so many anxieties around diets these days. We hear you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that, and everyone is chasing the perfect food. So what, in your opinion, is a healthy family diet?
I think it's about just eating real food. If you can grow it in your garden, if it's something that's eating grass or it's a wild like fish, then eat it. You can pick it off the trees or anything like that. If it's real food, then eat it. Then it's good for you. Anything that comes in a packet or a jar and it's got a list of ingredients, if it's got ingredients that you can't even pronounce or recognize, then don't eat it.
So it's very much what I used to say before. It's like a food that doesn't need a label. If a food needs a label, apparently it has been processed. So it should be a food that doesn't need any labels.
Exactly. It's just about eating real food, things that you can grow yourself.
Okay, and what about, because there are diets that say gluten-free, sugar-free, some of them say vegetarian is better than meat diet. So what's your opinion on the different diets?
I think everyone's very different. One diet that will work really well for one person might be another person's poison. So it's about knowing your own body, knowing what it needs, and everyone's going to be really different.
What about snacks, for example, and meals during the day? I read this book about the French parenting. I think I even made a video about it. And they say that French only eat 4 times a day. For example, they'll have breakfast, lunch, snack at about 4 o'clock, and then dinner. And they don't do any snacks in between. And that potentially is one of the reasons why the French kids are so good eaters and that the French nation is so slim. I think that they're within the leading nations in the world. So what's your thoughts about snacking?
I think snacks are great. As long as you have wholesome, nutritious snacks, I think it's really good for kids and it gives them the energy. They're doing so many things, they're growing so quickly that they need those calories. But you have to be careful about what you're giving them. As long as you're giving them healthy snacks, nutritious food, then it's a good thing.
What would be a healthy snack for you?
Obviously depending on time, but some things like sweet potato wedges, you can just cut them up, put them in the oven, and they love that. Popcorn.
Popcorn.
Air popped organic popcorn. If you put it in a pan with some coconut oil and you pop it, that's great. You want to make it a little bit more fancy. You can melt some dark chocolate and drizzle it on top. Dumplings, that's a really nice way to get vegetables in that kids don't like. So I love to put like Asian mushrooms and cabbage in mine because my kids, those are foods that my kids won't tend to like. So I will get the mushrooms and cabbage and all the other things that they wouldn't usually eat, and I put them inside dumplings. Sushi.
Sushi as well.
Yeah, it's activities you can do with the kids at home as well. We like to make sushi, so getting them involved.
And what about food fads? Would you say that your kids go through food fads when they would reject some food?
Oh, absolutely, all the time, all of them.
So how do you deal with that?
You just keep it on the table all the time. Sometimes they'll take it, sometimes they won't. They might go 3 months of not wanting a certain food, but then if it's there, they'll come back to it eventually.
That's what I remember, again, making a reference to the French way of parenting. They said that they never give up. It's like they would offer 30 times certain vegetable or certain meal so that the child can be exposed to this food, and they can make it in different ways, cook it differently, steam it with sauce, without, so the child may eventually start eating it. Whereas a lot of people complain, I tried 2-3 times and my child doesn't want it, so my child is not interested in this food. And then we forget as parents to keep offering these foods as well.
No, exactly. Just keep it there, and eventually, they say even if a child doesn't like a certain food, they usually have to try it between 3 to 7 times before they like it. And it's also about making food a little bit more exciting.
Exactly.
If I boil broccoli and I put it on the table, my kids will have maybe one piece. They're not going to have more than that. Or same with cauliflower. If I just boil cauliflower and put it on the table, they don't really eat much of it. But like if you take the same cauliflower and cut it up and maybe bake it with some feta cheese, it has more flavor and they'll eat it. If you take the broccoli and you stir fry it with some honey and some tamari, ginger, garlic, it's gone in a second. So it makes a huge difference how you.
So what's your breakfast usually for your kids? Eggs. You make protein-based breakfast.
So it's really important before they go to school that they have a lot of energy and they can sustain that energy for the morning. So eggs is a great protein source. They'll have that maybe with some toast, or they'll have it with a smoothie. So we'll put you put a fruit in that they won't eat usually as well inside the smoothie. So we'll get that.
What we can do as parents to help our kids to build healthy eating habits?
I think we have to be a good example to them. If they see the way we're eating, they'll eat the same way. If they see the way friends are eating, sometimes that encourages them too as well. I mean, what's really nice is what I try to do during the holidays or weekends when they have farmers markets. It's so nice to take the kids there, and they have all the vegetables, and the guys are really nice, and they let the kids try new things that they wouldn't maybe try with you, but because it's somebody else offering it to them and they're outside. They're more inclined to try it. So I've had my kids try some, different seasonal veg just by going to the farmer's market.
Oh well, I never thought of that. It's actually a good idea because Saturday and Sunday there are so many around us as well. So it's a great idea. What do we do when the poor eating habits have been already established? How can we change that and transform them to a healthier habits?
I mean, it's hard when the kids are home and they're with you. All day long. It's easy because they only have the options that you have at home. It's when they get older and they're having meals outside of the home. So that's what I'm struggling with right now. So my 12-year-old, he'll eat really well when he's at home, but when he's going outside, he's having lunch elsewhere. Then, you can't have control of that. But as long as you're consistent in the house and you have the same food choices, the healthy food choices, the good options, then.
And if you think about from your practice, you work with lots of clients. What are usually the main struggles for your clients in relation to nutrition?
Oh, it really varies. It really, really varies. Mothers who have children, that's a lot of the time it's going to be fatigue and it's going to be the nervous system. So it's about supporting the mother so that she has the energy and the strength and the ability to juggle all those balls in the air, which you're doing. So it's really about lots of magnesium-rich food, leafy greens. Those are really, really good for your nervous system. And as long as you're nourishing your nervous system, it gives you the ability to cope with everything else.
There's so much now out there about supplements and vitamins. What do you think is the main mistake in general people do in relation to supplements and vitamins. It's easy when they come to you because you can then make tests and then you can individually approach every person. But there are lots of people who are just going and they simply buy supplements from the shop thinking that it's good for them.
Yeah, supplements are not a quick fix. They're not gonna, if you're gonna eat a bad diet, you cannot get a supplement and think that's gonna take care of it. It's not. You have to eat really, really well. And some things you do need to supplement with, because you know what, our ground the soil is exhausted. It doesn't have the minerals in it the way it used to, and so we're not getting the same nutrition from it. So you do need to supplement, but you have to be really sensible about it and know what you need to supplement. For example, what I do in my house is I boil bones. I make bone broth, so I have bone broth boiling every couple of weeks. I make a whole batch. And by boiling the bones for 24 hours with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, you're able to leach all the goodness out of the bones. You get all the minerals, you get all the amino acids, and it's like liquid gold. Sure. And then I take those, I freeze them, I keep them in the fridge, and I use them in all my cooking. So that way I feel like I'm filling the gaps with my kids. So, you know, any mineral deficiencies, you know, calcium, magnesium, I feel like they're getting it all.
And they drink it?
No, so I use it in my cooking. So if we're making a tagine for dinner, I use that as the liquid. If I'm doing rice, I'll use that as the base in the rice. Sure. Anything that I'm making, I use the broth in it. That's a really good way to get nutrition, to get the good stuff in, but not going.
Do you think that children, especially depending on their age, when they're little, they would need more of certain foods in comparison to adults, for example? They would need more fat in the beginning. So do we need to modify our diet at home to meet the growing needs of kids?
Well, you definitely need fat, essential fatty acids, and they're called essential fatty acids because you need to get them from your diet. 60% of our brain is made of fat, so you need to get it from somewhere, and you need good
source,
quality. Yes, exactly. So that's why kids, you want to try to get it from your diet. So you want to be having oily fish 3 times a week. So when you think of oily fish, there's an acronym called SMASHED. So it's salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, herring, trout. And you think of those foods, you think of oily fish, and you want to get 3 portions of those in your diet each week. Otherwise, it's something that you would want to supplement. I mean, personally, with my children, I can't tell you what's right for other children, because it's, like I said, it's very different for all of them. But what I do supplement my kids on is omega-3 fish oil, is probiotics, and during winter time is vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Only during the winter time.
Only during the winter.
Because you cannot in London.
In London, in London, between October and March, I will supplement them with vitamin D. The rest of the time, they're outside, they're playing, they're going to get it on they're going to be able to absorb it.
So if you have to choose 3 foods that are no-no, what would these 3 foods be?
3 foods? Sugar, sugar, sugar.
The word sugar.
Because it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's sugar. If you're giving your kids cereal before school, it's full of sugar. If you're giving them like a low-fat yogurt, it's sweetened with sugar. If you're giving them juices, it's got sugar. Pasta sauces, you know, barbecue sauces, everything, everything. It's just full of sugar. It was in the news just a couple of weeks ago how the high street cafes, how their drinks have so much sugar in them, and now how they have to reduce it. It's up to 25 teaspoons of sugar, and some of like the hot chocolates and stuff. And we take our kids there for treats.
I know. It actually saddens me because I'm so no sugar person. Like, I have sugar because I cannot give up the dark chocolate just yet. But that's the only vice I still keep in my food. And that's because I know that dark chocolate is so healthy.
Yeah, no, it's good for you, the antioxidants. But that's what they say. We have opiate receptors in our brain for sugar, right? They say it's more addictive than cocaine. So there was a guy called Dr. Ahmed in France, and he did a study with mice, and he gave them the option of cocaine or sugar, and he found that the mice always went to the sugar.
Wow.
And our brains light up the same way with sugar as they do with cocaine. So it's addictive, and that's why people can't give it up. And you want more of it. It's a very addictive substance, and it's in everything. So
I just came back from the States, where I was for about 2 weeks, and I was actually pretty shocked that in most shops there, including Whole Foods and some other sort of healthy stores, I wanted to buy yogurt, like just pure natural yogurt, and there were 200, I actually filmed that, 200 varieties of yogurt, and you can see big shelves with yogurt, and everything would be with blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, apple juice, grape juice. Like, the only single one yogurt that I would find that was natural would be fat-free. So I'm like, what's going on? There is nothing non-modified. So I think here we are sort of in a better place because there are so many things you can buy without the sugar. There is a guy, Dr. Robert Lustig, he wrote a book about the sugar. He works with children and obesity, and he says that we need to be at war against sugar,
absolutely.
because this is the things that is killing us.
No,
it's not fat,
absolutely.
it's not
it's not
meat that much.
It's good for you, yeah. No, exactly. And like with the yogurts, if you get any fruit flavored yogurts, they are full of sugar.
Sugar, exactly.
And what you should do is if you just get a plain yogurt, like my kids love vanilla yogurt, but even vanilla yogurt is loaded with sugar. So what we do is we'll just get like a normal Greek yogurt and we'll take a vanilla pod or 2 vanilla pods and we'll scrape them out and we'll put a tablespoon of maple syrup in it. And that's a really nice way you can have
more
it.
natural way.
And the maple syrup's actually really good for you. So maple syrup's a prebiotic, which means that it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. And so you want their good bacteria to be fed and to nourish. So it's a really nice way to sweeten it as well.
What about honey versus?
No, it's good. That's good. That's another option too. Yeah, because it's full of enzymes and nutrients in it as well.
I still try because my child, again, he's never been exposed to sugar, but when he tried honey, which my mom loves to give him honey, he's like obsessed. He wants more of it all the time. So I even try to limit that because you know it's so much works on their brains. It's crazy how addictive it gets, and that's the only thing they want. Okay, so sugar, no.
no.
3 times no to sugar. What one change would you suggest for someone who is on their journey for healthy eating? If, you know, it's a busy mom, managing in this hectic environment, and she says, okay, I can commit to start doing one change, what would that be?
Well, first of all, you don't want to start by saying, you know, don't do this and don't do that, and take this out and take that out, because that can already be like a block. So you just want to try to get as much good stuff in. You know, just get in as much good stuff in, and then that way you crowd out the bad stuff.
Right. So, and the good stuff would be dark green leafy vegetables.
Dark green leafy vegetables, whole foods, avocados.
Avocados are the best.
Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, salads, greens, stuff like that.
And
for us women, it's really, really good.
Okay, I want to ask you some rapid fire questions. What would you make quick and healthy dinner option if you have 30 minutes of preparation time?
That happens a lot. Salmon teriyaki. So wild salmon with some honey, some tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce, just with some rice noodles, spring onions, bean sprouts, and spinach. It's finished within 20 minutes.
Really?
And it's healthy as well. And you get all the veg in, you get the oily fish, it's gluten-free.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try this because we eat lots of salmon and it actually doesn't take long, as you say, especially wild salmon. I don't really experiment with sauces.
Okay, so like if you have the wild salmon for my kids, I make them into small pieces. So I cut them up, so it's even quicker to cook the fish.
Yeah,
so within 5 minutes it's cooked, and then after you've cooked the fish, just keep it warm, and then just saute some spring onions, some bean sprouts, and add some rice noodles to it and spinach.
So do you think that eating healthy, it's hard to achieve?
Yeah, of course it's hard to achieve. It takes a lot of time. It's not about coming home and opening up 2 packets and warming something. It's not about warming something up. It's cooking from scratch. So you're taking the raw ingredients, you're chopping everything up, and you're cooking it. So yeah, it takes a lot longer, so you do have to be more organized. But if it's difficult, there are different things you can do. You can maybe batch cook, you can cook double. I cook double the quantity a lot of the time. So if I'm making chili con carne, I will cook a bigger batch, and I'll freeze half of it, and I'll freeze them in small containers. So instead of using it for chili, sometimes I'll use it for tacos, sometimes I'll use it for a bolognese sauce. So I've always got some ready in the freezer if I'm
really? That was my next question actually. What do you think about freezing food and eating leftovers?
Brilliant.
It's okay.
Why not? I think it's the best thing.
I don't know, because I've been brought up very differently. Like my mother would cook every day. She'll get up at 5:30 in the morning to cook, and I still can see myself doing that. Whereas probably it's not necessary. You can really.
I think it's so much harder now because we're all doing so many more things. We're all juggling. We have so many more balls in the air, and you know we're doing so many other things that it's really hard to do that. So when you can, you know, double up on the cooking, freeze and stuff like that, it makes a big difference. And the more you cook something, the quicker it is anyway, once you get used to it.
That's true, because I think for me, when we changed our eating habits, it was really hard in the beginning until we adjust to the new way of cooking and preparing things. But in fact, it doesn't really take much time. You know, you can just cook with mushrooms as well, which I started experimenting. They're very rich in vitamin D, as I've heard.
Mushrooms are great. So your normal mushrooms are really good in the B vitamins and stuff like that, and some vitamin D. But your Asian mushrooms, like the shiitake, the reishi, the maitake, they're so good for your immune system.
Yeah.
So they modulate and they help prime it, so especially at winter time. It's a great food to put in, and it's a great, like I told you, I put them in the dumplings. But what else I do is I'll buy the dry mushrooms, the dry shiitake mushrooms, soak them in some water, and then blitz it up.
Oh, really?
And I'll add that to like lasagna sauce or bolognese sauce. And the kids can't tell, but it gives it a really nice richness, because in stuff like that, mushrooms are amazing, right?
Yeah.
So it just gives it a really nice depth of flavor and richness, and then it's full of immune supporting properties as well.
Yeah, it's very new food for me. I just starting to experiment probably a month ago. So now we at least twice a week we cook with mushrooms.
That's great. Yeah.
But I know it's good, and I actually can see that Mika likes it too, which matters.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, because that's something
because
that
usually
kids
are
to.
Mushroom. I'm not sure.
Exactly. Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's experimenting. Okay, what's your favorite healthy snack?
Olives.
Olives.
I love olives. I spend more time doing the kids' snacks, but for me, it's always quick. So, like, you know, almonds,
Nuts,
almonds, nuts, blueberries, olives.
And what's your kids' favorite food?
Oh, I have 3 kids and they all like completely different things, so it makes it very, very difficult.
So you don't cook different things for them, though?
No, we would tend to rotate the same things. So we have about 7 different things that we tend to rotate, and they're all used to them now. So it's something that they all like that we rotate.
Is there something that the 3 of them like?
That they like? They all love chili con
wow.
carne. Yeah, they all love chili con carne.
Have any of your views around diet evolved over the last years? Did you change your mind about certain foods? Because it changes so quickly what we tend to believe.
Yeah, I think I always knew that nutrition has such a huge impact on our bodies and the way we think and our mindset and stuff. But I think every day I'm more and more and more convinced about it, that the little changes that people make have a huge impact.
Because you see that in your practice as well.
I see it every single day. Just small changes have a huge impact.
I just came back from, on a side note, I came back from a conference on high performance in California, and one of the guest speakers was his psychiatrist who takes brain images, and he talked about how food impacts our brains. But not that we only think that that's the case, it actually, he proves is the case, because he takes brain images of a healthy person and then someone with obesity or overweight, and there is a physical change of the brain of people when they get sick or when they're obese or when they eat processed food. So it's really, really sad. I mean, I sort of knew about these things because I read a lot about nutrition. You know, we met on this nutrition course. So it's sort of, I'm into these things, but so many people were shocked. They didn't really know what's the impact. And when you can see it, because it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing when you can feel it in your energy, but when you see how the brain looks like with holes and it looks unhealthy, and you know that it can actually decrease the amount of healthy years you have on this planet, you know, it makes you shocking.
We were all babies, right? How did we get from a baby to what we are now? From the food we eat. So it has to have an impact in the way we are and, you know, the way we feel and stuff. How can it not? And our health as well. I mean, if you think of us as an example, like a tree, okay? If you have a tree, if you have the soil, and the soil is what goes into the roots. If you have good stuff going into the roots, you're going to get a really healthy tree, right? If you have really bad soil and, you know, suboptimal nutrition and not such great things going into the roots, what's your tree going to be like? What are the branches going to be like?
True.
You know, is it going to flower? It's, you know, it's really a foundation of everything else.
And the good news is that all these things are reversible.
Oh, absolutely.
So we could have been eating really bad processed food and bad diet, we can have bad diet, but we can actually start going to the healthier stuff, to transfer to a whole food diet, and it can reverse the damages on our brain and our body.
Oh, it completely can. And you can see the difference just after a week or two of changing, you know, different aspects of your diet. You can see the difference very, very quickly, especially with children.
I forgot to just ask you something, it's really interesting. What change in your industry excites you most now?
I think everyone's becoming more aware of it. It's so much more mainstream. I mean, just look in the news like 3 weeks ago, how it brought up the fact that, hey, there's too much sugar in the drinks in our high street stores, and they're going to have to bring that down. I think people are becoming more aware. People want to know. People want to know what they're eating. People want to know what's in their food. I think that's great, just the awareness that's out there, and people are more receptive to learn about it and to want to know more about it. You know, people want to cook healthier for their kids. They want to know what to give their kids. They want to know.
And actually, in this country, Jamie Oliver did a lot as
Amazing.
an influencer
Yeah.
to fight with the sugar, and you know, because I follow these cases, I follow everything that is related to sugar.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, exactly,
And
that's great.
It's amazing, yeah. And what are your thoughts on organic versus non-organic?
Organic food is advised because it's not sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides and stuff like that. So when you ingest the food, you're not ingesting all these toxins. But in addition to that, it's not just that. The plant has to protect itself. If it doesn't have the pesticide on it to protect it, it has to protect itself. So when the plant protects itself, the fruits, veg, they're all producing more antioxidants, more phytochemicals. So it's like a double bang. You're not getting all the chemicals on your fruit and veg, but in addition to that, you're getting more, you know, antioxidants and phytochemicals in your fruit and veg when you're having organic. The Environmental Working Group put a list together every year. They find 12 of the fruits and vegetables that have the highest amount of pesticides and herbicides and stuff, and those fruits and vegetables, it's always best to buy them organic. And then they have another list which is called Clean 50. So they have the least amount of residue on them from the herbicides and pesticides and stuff. And if you can't, then those are fine to buy non-organic. Yeah, I mean, there is a bigger cost in it, but if you're eating local and seasonal, you can always get the vegetables at a more reasonable price. It's when we're importing them from other countries.
Especially if you go to markets, local
Yeah,
markets.
exactly. So we try to go to our local markets and we pick up fruit and veg from there as well. So
Seasonal is hard.
It's very hard. It is hard.
We got used to eat all year round foods that, you know, normally would haven't been here. When I was a child, we would just eat fruits up until September, October, that was it. And then we wouldn't have anything until the next
Yeah, but when
spring.
you're looking at like costing and stuff like that, right now strawberries are coming back into season, and so, I mean, they're still imported, but you can get organic strawberries for about £2 in the supermarkets, whereas like a month ago they were £4.
Yeah.
So eating seasonal makes a huge difference.
I know, yeah.
Especially if
it's
you're going to
important
buy
to buy.
organic and stuff.
Thank you so much, Farzanah. That was amazing. I learned so much, and I hope our viewers learned so much about nutrition as well. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Now I want to hear from you. What one change you would implement in your family diet and why? Please leave me a comment in the comment box below, and if you like this video, give me a thumb up and subscribe for my channels for more goodies. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next Tuesday. Bye!